Good evening. I'll call the West Mead Township Board of Supervisors meeting for March 2024 to order. Roll call.
Jordan?
Here.
Chartle?
Here.
Bovard?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please note that all supervisors' public meetings are subject to public and/or private audio and video recording. Is there any public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, please note that public comment will also be received during each agenda item and at the end of the meeting. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the February 13th, 2024 study session and regular meeting minutes as presented in our packets.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Bovard?
Yes. I'll entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's reports for February 2024 and approve the payment of bills in the amount of $153,635.11, subject to audit.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Paying bills.
Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Bovard?
Yes. Municipal reports. We'll start with Police Chief Chip Brown.
Good evening. For the month of February, we had 54 complaints. 54 of those complaints were cleared. 12 and a half hours was spent in school zones. 186 and a half hours was spent on traffic watch and patrol time in the township. 61 and a half hours was spent on office and report time. 52 and a half hours was spent on investigative time. There was 2 hours spent in court. 73 and a half hours was spent on miscellaneous and meeting times. 43 hours was spent in training. There were 8 traffic stops, excuse me, with 4 citations being issued, and all 4 for obedience to traffic control devices. There were 4 warnings issued, 1 for speeding, 1 for faulty equipment, and 1 for expired registration. We assisted other police departments once. We assisted fire and EMS once. Request to speak to an officer once. And general information received from the public was 1. And there were 11 house checks done. There were 3 reportable motor vehicle accidents and 1 non-reportable. There were 4 animal complaints. There was 1 investigation of death by natural causes. 1 child in custody issue, 1 drug offense, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 drug paraphernalia, 1 theft, 2 domestic disturbance complaints, 2 terroristic threats, 1 trespassing, 1 harassment. There was 1 hit and run. There were 3 calls of suspicious vehicles, 1 call of suspicious persons, 1 behavioral issue, 1 assist to the general public, 1 case of stolen property recovered, 7 911 hang-up calls, and 1 repossession. Total miles of all vehicles was 2,286 miles.
Chip, you assisted another police department. Who was that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I did not look at it.
Gotcha. All right, just wondered.
Sorry, I don't have that.
That's okay. Just wondered.
All right, any other questions or comments for Chief Brown? Thank you, Chip. John with the road report.
From last month to today, we actually had 5 days of actual winter maintenance, plowing or putting thawing agent down on the roadways. I'd have to say that about 80% of our month was cutting brush on Tamarack Drive, trying to get ready for the 2024 season, paving season. We also had some plug culverts and ditches that were plugged due to the heavy rain that we had over the month and that we opened and cleared. We also had some road sign damage and road sign repairs to the post, straighten and repair those, and the caution and stoplights that we have out there, we also went around and tried to get those back up and running. We also, the last thing we did here was just this week, or Sunday, we assisted West Mead 1 Fire Department with a large tree that came down on Graft Ave, and it was a big tree. So we got the most of it cleaned up. The trunk of it's still there. Not quite sure what's going to happen with that, but we did come over and help them. We worked pretty good together to get that cleaned up. And it actually snapped telephone poles and took power lines and everything down. So it was a mess. So
On Graff Ave or Graff Street?
Graft Street, between Meadowland and Arthur Hill. So, and that was pretty much so over a month. But again, I'd have to say 80% of our work has been right down on Tamarack Drive, trying to get that road daylighted, do the brush cutting that needs to be done before we spend the amount of money that it costs to pave that road. So that's where we're at.
All right, any questions or comments, John? Hearing none, we'll move on to Jill for the zoning report.
For the month of February, we had one demolition for $15,000. They're going to demolish an existing garage and then construct a new detached garage in its place.
I see that's underway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Jill? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the regular business for the meeting. Item number 1, I'll entertain a motion to reappoint John Kerr and James Bucci, each for a 4-year term ending in April of 2028 on the West Mead Township Planning Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Hey, you talked to both of them, Jill? They're
Yes.
Happy to reserve?
Yes.
I think you do a pretty good job for us.
Yes. And we're working on some things like the solar ordinance amendment or even the zoning ordinance. So there's some things in the works. So that's why it's nice to have the continuity for the moment.
We have a lot of history.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes. Item number 2. We're going to consider approving a request to subdivide lands owned by Philip W. and Julie M. Pasilla, shown on Pasilla 2024-1 subdivision plan for property located on Town Line Road. The subdivision involves establishing lot number 1, consisting of 5.188 vacant acres from tax parcel number 3217-190-A as an alpha, to be transferred to Casey Pasilla to construct a single-family residential dwelling. And Alan, do you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
basically, that's all that I would have said, but here's the plan. And it was approved, as I understand, by the Township Planning Commission, so I'm not aware of anything that would hinder the board from approving it.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve the request and authorize the signing of Pasilla 2024-1 subdivision plan for property located on Town Line Road as presented, pending final signatures and any other necessary requirements. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
Any additional discussion?
It's going to get us another new house in the township, so,
Always glad to see that.
yeah.
Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes. Okay, the third item, we're going to review the cleanup day quotes. So Joe, you want to quickly review those, just the Cliff Note version?
Sure. We only had 3 different bidders. The winning for the trash goods was Pro Waste at $340 per container with a disposal per ton of $64. And then the white goods, that's the metals, they had bid $150 for the containers, and then they will pay us $125 per gross ton. For Freon items, it's $150 for the container, and then $20 per each disposal of each Freon contained item. They also do not want to take propane tanks, and they do not take batteries or anything with lithium in them. So that's kind of new this year. We'll still take batteries, like car batteries or some of the bigger batteries, but they don't want to take anything with lithium. So those are the bids. We worked with Pro Waste last year and Lincoln Recycling both. I think everything went smooth.
Real smooth. Yep. Probably one of the smoothest ones I think we've had over the years.
All right, I would agree. It seemed to go pretty well, and you stayed on your feet.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to award the contracts to Lincoln Recycling for the metals and Pro Waste Services for trash items.
You made that motion?
I'm entertaining it.
Entertaining. I'll make that motion.
Second. Any additional discussion on that?
I don't believe.
Roll call.
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes. Cleanup Day will be held at the Crawford County Fairgrounds on Saturday, May 18th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. As Jill just talked about, no propane tanks, no loose shingles or uncontained small items. We will accept batteries as long as they don't have any lithium in them. No electronics. All right, moving on to item number 4. Review the 2024-2025 anti-skid and aggregate quotes. Again, Jill, please, the Cliff Notes version.
Sure. There was 7 different bidders that we did under the e-marketplace through the RFQs under PennDOT regulations. Hillside Stone for the number 57s is $20.25. Mevo Ready Mix for the 2 RC gravel delivered for $14.90 a ton. Hasbrook Sand and Gravel, $12.04 for the AS2 anti-skid delivered, and the anti-skid picked up is $7 a ton. The 2 RC gravel delivered is $8.50 a ton. 2A gravel delivered, $17. The 2A gravel picked up price is $9, and the number 57s type C at the plant are $14. Allegheny Mineral was awarded or will be awarded for 2A limestone delivered $28.45 a ton, or picked up at the plant for $17, or the number 8s, that's the limestone type A, is $38.45 a ton, and picked up at the plant is $27 a ton.
Okay.
All right. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to award contracts for anti-skid and aggregates to Hasbrook Sand and Gravel, Meadville Ready Mix, Allegheny Mineral, and Hillside Stone under the PA State contract, as Jill just discussed. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Well, just stuff that we do every year. I mean, it's material that we use throughout the year.
Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Chartle?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes. Okay, the first note, Judith's Jig Memorial 5K Run and Walk will be held this Saturday, March 16th, 2024, beginning at 10 a.m. They will be starting and ending at Diamond Park in the city of Meadville after traveling out Liberty Street Extension to Rand's Bar and Grill. So if you're in that area, please remember to slow down. And another note, between March and November of this year, PennDOT will be contracting with Tri-State Traffic Data to collect traffic data information on various roadways located in West Mead Township to update critical safety management inventory under Federal Highway Administration's model inventory of road elements. All right. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to Supervisors' final comment.
I have nothing tonight.
The only thing I have, Don, is, you know, we've got our bids in for the cleanup, and I just hope that people would start early to use the cleanup day. Again, I know that we've cut it down to one day, and it seems to be working pretty good for us to do the whole day. But if people would start now, you know, start early and get ready for it, because May 18th will be here before you know it. And it's a good thing to take advantage of, and, you know, it gives you an opportunity to clean up your place and make your neighbor happy. So that's all I have.
I have nothing, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Jordan?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Over.
Yes. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Happy St. Patrick's Day.